Hello, YouTube. I am Darth Vickers, and here's my first installment in my own Versus series. I will be deciding who would win in a fight, either Galen Marek, the apprentice of Darth Vader, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, apprentice to famed Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn. Obi-Wan Kenobi rose through the ranks as a Padawan and was the first Jedi in over 1,000 years to defeat a Sith in fair combat. However, in that same battle, his master lost his life. In a promise to his master, he said he would train the young child known as Anakin Skywalker, who was believed to be the Chosen One. Throughout his journey as a Jedi Knight, Obi-Wan Kenobi became one of the greatest Jedi Masters in the ranks, finding the clone army on Kamino and being in the initial engagement on Geonosis. Throughout the Clone Wars, he became a general, and throughout his reign as a general, he became one of the strongest military leaders the Galactic Empire had ever seen. However, the Galactic Empire hadn't existed yet, so it would be the Galactic Republic. However, this was all falling apart due to Order 66 and Palpatine's control. The fall of the Jedi Temple at the hands of Anakin Skywalker was a great toll on this Jedi Master. He went to confront his former apprentice on the planet of Mustafar, where he defeated Anakin Skywalker in a fair duel, crippling him and believing him to be dead. He then took Anakin's son, Luke Skywalker, under his guidance and took him to Tatooine, where he was raised. And he watched over the young Skywalker's life as he hid from the Galactic Empire that searched him down. He re-emerged in Zero BBY and started the young Skywalker's training, and aboard the Death Star to save his friends and his young apprentice, Obi-Wan Kenobi died at the hands of Darth Vader. He ascended the material plane, becoming a Force spirit, and came back to teach the young Luke Skywalker in the ways of the Force. Obi-Wan Kenobi will always be remembered as one of the greatest Jedi in galactic history. And now for Marek. Found on Kashyyyk by Darth Vader, Marek was raised as Darth Vader's secret apprentice, hidden from the Emperor, as a secret attempt to destroy the Emperor. He was sent out on missions as Vader's secret assassin, killing such Jedi as Shaak Ti, legendary Jedi Master herself. But when the Emperor found out about him, he was killed and thrown into space. Vader recovered his body and brought him back and rebuilt him. He then had a role in creating the rebellion, and during a final engagement with Vader on the Death Star, he overwhelmed his former master and eventually overwhelmed the Emperor himself. But this was only a trick that Palpatine laid, and due to this, Galen Marek died saving the rebellion. Galen Marek will always be known as the hero who saved the rebellion and saved the galaxy. I will now cover their martial arts skills and their skills with a lightsaber. Obi-Wan Kenobi was a 39-year-old human male in his physical prime. He'd mastered many forms of combat in his day, but he was a master of only one true form of lightsaber combat, Form 3, Surisu. Surisu was an outward showing of Jedi philosophy and a perfect defense with no aggression. Due to this form, Obi-Wan was never defeated by one lightsaber duelist during his prime, unless they resorted to their Force abilities. He has a knowledge of Form 6 Nyman and a Form 4 Ataru due to his training with Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn. He also has a high threshold for pain, as he has taken several hits with no sign of negative feedback on his end. Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi is also known for his combative adaptability, as he is able to take over usually in any fight, no matter what the odds are. He is known as one of the greatest Jedi lightsaber combat duelists in the galaxy at the time of his death, and as one of the greatest masters of Surisu in galactic history. Galen Marek was a 17-year-old human who was not yet at his physical prime at the time of his death. Galen Marek was proficient in 3 forms of lightsaber combat that he used well together, them being Form 5 Shien, Form 7 Juyo, and Form 3 Surisu. He used a reversed hand grip which played to his advantage due to his speed and agility. He usually went into Juyo frenzies and tried to overwhelm his opponents. Whenever he was on the defense, however, he had a great defense due to his skill in Surisu and Shien. He was also somewhat proficient in Naiman, shown through his force abilities being intertwined with his lightsaber combat. However, he was an excellent fighter, but he was made so he would be able to be defeated by a Gemso duelist due to Darth Vader's training. However, he was still an excellent fighter, being able to hold off one of the greatest duelists in galactic history, Darth Vader. Even though both lightsaber duelists are great, I'm going to have to give the edge to Obi-Wan Kenobi, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is a perfect lightsaber duelist, and even if he is overwhelmed by Galen Marek's Juyo frenzy, his mastery of Surisu would lead him to outlast the young apprentice. If this battle went down to just lightsaber combat, the fight would go very similar to Darth Vader and Obi-Wan's fight from Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. However, this is a slight edge due to Galen Marek's skill only being a bit behind the great negotiator himself. Now that we've covered the basic physical traits and we've covered the lightsaber combat, we'll be moving on to force abilities. Obi-Wan Kenobi was a Jedi Guardian, which meant he focused more on his lightsaber combat than his force abilities. However, he was still skilled at his force abilities, and he chose to use these at very sparse times, but when he did, he was unstoppable. He used telekinesis and the Jedi mind trick more than any other skill. However, he was proficient in most other skills, such as the Force stun ability. However, he was very weak towards Force abilities, and in any situation where one used telekinesis, he was putty in their hands. Galen Marek was from a video game called The Force Unleashed, where he was the main protagonist. When you're from a game called The Force Unleashed, Marek would probably have some amazing Force powers, and he was even able to overwhelm Darth Vader, known as the Chosen One to many with these abilities. He's very proficient in Force Lightning and prefers it over most other Force abilities. However, he is very skilled in Force Telekinesis, Force Repulse, and Force Speed and Dash. He's a jack of all trades and is very threatening with these Force abilities, especially when he goes into a Dark Force Rage, integrating all of his lightsaber combat skills with these Force abilities, creating unique moves such as the lightning-imbued lightsaber strike. Galen Marek is truly the Force Unleashed. It's pretty obvious who gets the edge in this situation. Galen Marek wins. Obi-Wan Kenobi has no skill against telekinesis, and he is usually destroyed by his opponents and slammed whenever someone uses this. However, this is not the kryptonite you think it is due to Obi-Wan's skill against Force users. He is only able to be defeated by very strong Force-wielding opponents. However, he is able to block Force Lightning, which is Marek's favorite ability. So, he would be able to defeat Marek in certain ways, but not in others. It seems like it would be a very even fight. However, Galen Marek still gets the edge for Force abilities. Now to discuss armament and weapons for each of our combatants. Obi-Wan Kenobi used a blue-hued Dagon crystal in his lightsaber, which led to a more efficient and proper design of his blade. Being broken several times, Kenobi kept extra parts for his blade so he can fix it at a moment's notice. He has used his Force ability to stun his foe and fix his blade at the same time. Kenobi wore clone armor along with his Jedi robes to prevent damage like he sustained during the early years of the Clone Wars. So Obi-Wan was able to use his armor and weapon to the fullest ability along with his skill in Surisu, making him a wall, a thick Trojan wall. Galen Marek used a synthetic red-hued crystal in his lightsaber, which had been which had an exposed crystal chamber. This crystal led to more power but less maneuverability. He eventually switched to a blue-hued Dagon crystal, which made him similar to Kenobi's. However, he wore a plethora of armors and clothing. He mostly wore his training armor, which had Mandalorian iron embedded on his shoulders. This would have been a good choice, except his fighting style demands maneuverability, so why would you choose a metal that prevents that? It just hinders him completely, which makes no sense why he would use such a heavy metal on his armament. However, he did use other armors and eventually switched to Jedi robes, which provide no defensive benefits. It's obvious who gets the edge here as well. Obi-Wan Kenobi wins because due to his tactical choice of armor, unlike Marek's choice of armor limiting him, Kenobi's armor and weapons suit him and his styles perfectly. And the opposite can be said for Marek. And now for tactical ingenuity and brilliance. I'll only be going over this with certain Jedi and Sith, as this doesn't apply with all fights, but in certain cases, such as this one, I believe that this is needed. Due to his time as a general in the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi has a strong tactical and militarized mindset. However, his Jedi ideals lead him to see a fight as never a goal in itself, that there are always alternatives to fighting. He used his surrounding to his advantage, which in Jedi terms is called SOCAM. He was dubbed the Great Negotiator due to these skills. He wasn't afraid to use any weaponry he could, as he killed General Grievous with a blaster, which still bothers me, the fact that a Jedi defense master killed him. Just that's one of the things about the prequels that irks me the most. Due to his betrayal at the hands of Darth Vader and his father's death when he was young, Galen Marek has some issues. He was also a 17-year-old boy who doesn't believe he is what he is, which is a Sith assassin turned Jedi. Galen uses his rage, and this usually gives his opponent an advantage over him as he becomes sloppy, because he usually overcomes his force abilities. When he isn't in a rage, he is usually a force to be reckoned with. This is why he was able to defeat Vader and Sidious in the first Force Unleashed game when he needed to. However, it is believed that Sidious threw the fight, same as he did with Jedi Master Mace Windu. And now for the verdict. I believe that these two duelists are the greatest duelists in the history of lightsaber battling, as they both never truly lost a fair fight. However, a battle between these two would be very similar to the battle between Vader and Kenobi on Mustafar. Being the more agile duelist, Marek would fly into a frenzy that Kenobi would ward off like any other attack. Once he noticed that his lightsaber skills would not work, his force abilities would come into play. Kenobi would fall apart during this tactical flurry of force abilities. However, he would be able to get away using his powerful mindset and force abilities and lightsaber strikes, and outlast his opponent with his youthful energy, which would not last as long as Kenobi. And after that, Marek would be left brutally defeated by Kenobi. The winner is Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is just my opinion, so don't be upset if Galen Marek is your favorite Jedi. Thank you for watching my video. If you like this video, subscribe and like it, and I hopefully will have more videos up after this. This was my first video, and I would like to know what you thought of it down in the comments. Feel free to say whatever you want, tell me if it's horrible, because if it is, then I can fix it. But this is my first try and attempt at making a YouTube video for a Versus series. Thank you guys, and see you next time. I'm Darth Vickers. May the Force be with you.